a BPU for electric, water, and wastewater to be run as an advisory board, similar to the Planning Commission. So, keep things the same. Electric Utility Board and water and wastewater operate as usual. Well, the pros, the Electric Utility Board would continue to operate as usual with future success anticipated. And I say future success anticipated, and I think that virtually everybody on the council will stipulate that over the past 5 years, working under the ordinance that established them, in good faith, that they have had success as a board and Gardner Energy as a division of the city. The cons, however, are that this could be an unsustainable option, as the city attorney has suggested that the Electric Utility Board is actually operating in an extra-legal manner. That doesn't mean an illegal manner. It just means in a manner that's not supported by state statute. That would be correct, Ryan?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Not sure there's much of a distinction, but...
Yeah. It's... Yeah, we're operating extra-legally. We're not lawbreakers.
Yeah, the chief isn't going to arrest me.
Okay, very good. The other con would be that water and wastewater, which get billed every month as part of the bill that comes from utility billing, will continue to receive less study and planning than what their counterparts in the electric currently enjoy. Now, option 2 is modifying the EUB ordinance to operate as an independent board. The pros for this would be it could eliminate the extra-legal situation that we find ourselves in. The Electric Utility Board would continue to operate in a very similar fashion to what they do currently, with future success, again, anticipated. The board could be set up to contain a city council member as an ex officio member, allowing for greater cooperation and communication between the EUB and the city. What would the cons be? Well, the success that the EUB has experienced would still not be realized by the 2 other utilities that are billed for on a monthly basis. The Electric Utility Board would be solely responsible for many more administrative functions and benefits, making the cost of running the electric utility more expensive. And there would be potential duplication of administrative functions currently shared by the city and the Electric Utility Board. And then there's the push, which, some people might not want to see changes made, and other people might want to see changes made, so that's why we're marking this one down as push. But it could probably easily be recast as a pro. This would allow for us to carefully craft an establishing charter ordinance with some broad input. We could modify the ordinance to operate as an advisory board. The pros of this would be it would eliminate the current extra-legal situation. It would still be unique and innovative, as this is currently not an option exercised in most Kansas communities. It would allow for independent study and planning with recommendations forwarded to the City Council. Administrative functions would be much more clearly defined and streamlined and roles understood. And it's very similar to how the Planning Commission operates and has for many years, well, decades actually. The cons would be the study and planning that the EUB would enjoy would still not be realized by the 2 other utilities that show up on our bills from City Hall every month. It could potentially run less like a business, and decisions run the risk of being politicized at the City Council level. Probably not so much at the advisory board level. So, here's some gray area things. City council would be able to vote against recommendations. That's probably, it's probably good for some of the people on city council and probably not so good for some of the people on the advisory board. City council would have budget authority, which, the way things are currently constructed, we have but don't have, and it's still a gray area. It would bring the Gardner more in line with how 97% of the municipally owned electric utilities in Kansas are run. There's a real nice video about municipal utilities on the electric utility board portion of the city website. It was put together by KMU, and it runs about 15 minutes long. Everyone feel free to go back and take a look if you haven't seen it already. But I was watching that the other day, and there's 119, at least at the time that the video was filmed, which was 2009 or 2010. And there's only 4 municipalities that are running their utilities with a board having any kind of role. So, you know, 97% of the municipally owned electric utilities are not run using a board structure. And of course, there'd be an opportunity to carefully craft an establishing ordinance, not a charter ordinance. And there again, we could have broad input from council members, staff, outside experts, and our friends on the electric utility board. The fourth option, we could bring the EUB back under city council control, which would eliminate the current extra legal situation. City council would have a much more opportunity to study utility issues more closely and completely. And administrative functions would again be clearly defined with roles understood. Cons involved are the city council would not be making decisions without the benefit of study and planning from another more narrowly focused board. It would be less likely that it would be run like a business. Decisions regarding utilities stand a greater chance of being politicized than even if there were an advisory board. And 5 years of institutional knowledge and insight gained by electric utility board members would likely be lost. But it would bring us in line with that vast majority of municipally owned electric utilities in Kansas. Option 5, we could establish a BPU similar to the one in Kansas City, Kansas. Pros on that are, KCBPU has operated their municipal utilities, which just includes electric and water again, for over 100 years. They do run it like a business, but it is a not-for-profit municipal utility. Electric and water utilities have both achieved accolades operating under the KCBPU, including most recently being judged the best-tasting water in Kansas in 2010. Gardner, as it turns out, was the best-tasting water in Kansas in 2007. The cons: board members are elected and eligible to be re-elected, and judging from the tenure for some of the members on the unified, well, actually on the BPU website, there's some of them have been there serving on the board for a long time. Decisions made by elected boards are much more likely to be influenced by political pressure, including upcoming or recently conducted elections. And as Ryan Denk, our new city attorney, pointed out at the last meeting, this may actually require one of those proverbial acts of Congress to get accomplished. Option number 6, establish a BPU for electric and water and run it as an independent appointed board similar to the McPherson BPU. Success with the EUB has currently experienced